Love Stories. Hey, welcome back to Love Stories. I'm your host, Sherry Smith, Blue Heart Music, and this is a place where you just might learn a little bit about love while being entertained. Now, today's topic is the top 5 signs that they're just not that interested in a serious relationship. You know, they're not thinking long term. He's probably not going to commit. Or she. You'll notice I usually say they because I'm trying to just kind of encompass whoever you might be that's viewing this. So I want to make sure I include you. So he, she, they. Actually, the latest one I've heard is Z. Have you heard that one? Some people prefer that as their pronoun. So that is that's kind of interesting for me to hear, because it just makes me think of like somebody with a heavy German accent, like "What are they doing?" You know, something like that. But you know, I'm cool with it, and I totally support that. So, you know, I'm down with whatever you want to go by. Okay, so number 5 sign. Number 5, that the person is not that serious about your relationship, is if they are refusing or not interested in going to a big event that's important to you. Does this person shy away from big events in your life? Do they not want to go to weddings or graduations or a reunion or some big event that might be important to you? Are they refusing to go, or just kind of copying out of it before you even invite them? I had a guy that I dated back in the day. I mentioned to him that I had a family member that was getting married, and I hadn't even really thought about it at that point if I was going to invite that person or not, but it came up in conversation, and right off the bat he's like, "Oh, I'm not going." I was like, okay, because we hadn't even like gotten to that point in the relationship. Like, you know, it was months out, and I hadn't even suggested it or really given it a lot of thought yet. So that was a bit insulting, you know, that right away he's just like, no way am I going, you know. I'm like, oh, red flag. That guy was not serious about our relationship. Okay, number 4 sign that they are not serious about your relationship, they're not thinking long term, is if they make comments like, "Oh, I really like my life the way it is." The same person, actually, who didn't want to go to the wedding with me, even though they weren't invited, he also would occasionally make comments like that, like, "Oh, you know, I'm really happy with my life and the way it's going right now. I'm really, you know, I don't want anything to change." Like, he actually said things like that sometimes, and, you know, I just would ignore it. Like, I just kind of overlooked it. But big red flag, that should have stood out, and I should not have ignored that, because that ended up, you know, that year was really a big waste of time with that person. So don't ignore those red flags. If they're telling you that they don't want to change things, that means they don't want to get married, they don't want to have kids, you know, if that's what you want. Now, if you don't care, then great. But you want to be on the same page. You know, if you're looking for something long term, you don't want to be wasting your time with somebody who doesn't want to change anything in their life. So listen to that. Avoid those red flags. All right, that segues into number 3. Number 3 sign that they're just not that serious about your relationship is if they don't really make room for you in their life. You know, they don't really make a lot of time to spend with you. You're not a priority to them. And, you know, if they never like start calling you their boyfriend or girlfriend or a significant other, if that doesn't evolve after, you know, maybe 3 or 4 months, then it's also a sign that things are not heading in a serious direction. Okay, number 2 sign that they're just not taking your relationship that seriously. If they don't want to make plans with you coming up that are like off in the distant future, like maybe plan a trip together, or, you know, something that might connect you guys more if you have these plans coming up, or even something more significant like moving in together. If they're reluctant to talk about those things or to make those plans, well, that's another sign they're just not taking your relationship seriously. So, is it worth it for you? Only you can decide. All right, the number one red flag, stay away sign that you need to watch out for is, drum roll please. Do you guys remember Regular Show? They had the guy who was like, ham boning. Do you remember that? I don't know if you ever watched that. It's a hilarious cartoon. They were like, ham boning. Ham boning will save your life someday. It was actually a really funny show. You should catch that on reruns if you get a chance. It's called Regular Show. I thought it was super funny, especially that episode with the ham boning. Like, totally worth watching. All right, but let's get back to number one red flag to watch out for, which is if they are avoiding meeting friends and family, especially family. You know, if you invite them over to meet your family and they're kind of like always busy or, you know, don't really seem that interested, or conversely, if they don't invite you to meet their family at some point, you know, eventually, I would say, like, well, part of it depends on timing of when it might work out, but, you know, if you've been dating a while and they've never even, like, suggested meeting their family, or they haven't come and met yours yet, well, that's a pretty big red flag. That means they're keeping up boundaries, you know, they're not really totally intertwining their life with yours. You know, you gotta have that cohesiveness, so if they're just not willing to meet your family or not interested in having you meet theirs, well, that is a pretty big red flag to watch out for. So if you're looking for long term, then I would stay pretty far away from somebody like that. So what are the lessons we've learned here? Well, if somebody is showing you that they're really throwing up a lot of red flags on the things we talked about, they're just not going to be serious about a relationship. So just to kind of recap, if they're avoiding like going to important events with you, if they make comments like, I like my life the way it is, if they don't really want to make time for you and start calling you their boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, make some space in their life for you. And then also if they don't want to make long-term plans with you. And lastly, and probably most importantly, if they're just not willing to meet important people in your life, and also if they're not letting you meet important people in their life, especially your family, well, all red flags. So if you're looking for serious love and commitment, it's best to just keep on looking. Don't stop at those folks, because they're just not serious, you know. They're not looking for commitment right now. They just maybe are enjoying the moment, but that's about it. So don't look for long-term love with these folks. So do you think I left anything out from that list? Like, are there any other big signs to watch out for that they're not that serious or committed to your relationship? If so, drop the comments down below and let me know what else you would add to this list. All right, thanks so much for watching Love Stories today. And, you know, if you're looking for a serious committed relationship, please don't ignore those red flags, those things we talked about. Because if you're with somebody who doesn't also want a committed long-term relationship or relationship with a future to it, you're just wasting your time if that's what you want. So pay attention to that. Don't waste your time. So, time for visual aids. There'll be a new episode almost every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, I am trying to build up my subscribers, so would totally appreciate it if you would just click, just a quick little. Now remember, it doesn't mean a lot to you if you're just click real quick, but it means a lot to me. So if you would please do that, I would appreciate it. All right, share with your friends, and most importantly, I want you to know you are loved. You've been watching Love Stories. I'm Sherry Smith, Blue Heart Music, and I'll catch you next week.